Alright guys, welcome to today's Jumpstart webinar. My name's Lenny, I'm going to be your host today, and what we're going to be covering is an overview of Jungle Scout, the tools inside, and how to use them. This is targeted for beginners, so we're not going to go super in-depth into the tools. However, I want to make sure that when you come away from this webinar, you're going to know exactly what to do to get started using Jungle Scout. So let's dive into the tool. Alright, so we're inside the tool now. You'll see that on the side we've got find products, find suppliers, and keywords. Those are the main sections within Jungle Scout. To start with, inside of find products, this is where you're going to begin. Of course, you're going to try to find products. It's broken down into three tools. The product database and niche hunter are there to help you generate product ideas if you have no idea what you want to pick, what you want to sell, and then the product tracker helps you verify those ideas, okay? So let's start with the product database. Firstly, what is it? Well, essentially, we've recatalogued all of Amazon's sort of best-selling products into a database that's more search-friendly for sellers, okay? It includes important information like how many sales per month the product is getting. You can gauge the competition levels. So it's really useful for us sellers. So let's go through an example. First off, you select your categories. Okay, I'm just going to deselect a few categories that I recommend staying away from when you first start out, okay? And so you'll see a lot of these are electronics categories. So generally speaking, you want to stay away from electronics at the start because there's a lot more moving parts, there's a lot more risk of things going wrong. So you want to keep your products nice and simple, okay? Next, we've got grocery and gourmet food. We don't recommend selling anything that goes in or on your body. Again, there's a lot of potential liability there. So just always coming back to keeping it simple. The Kindle store, you want to sell physical products, not digital products. I'd say the same thing for software here as well. Also, clothing, shoes, and jewelry. In these categories, people tend to be a lot more brand loyal. They're less likely to spend money on a no-name brand that they don't know. So there's just some quick tips on categories to start out with. All right, Parker says, I heard that airplane. I apologize, the airplanes here are crazy low and loud. So my apologies in advance. All right, back to the product database and over to the filter section. Okay, so this is where a lot of the magic's gonna happen. I'm gonna explain the main filters that we wanna use. First up is price, okay? I'm just gonna put $18 to $50, okay? So below $18 or maybe $15, the profit margins get very, very slim. So that's why a good rule of thumb is to look for products at least $18. Then below $50, people are still willing to make an impulse buy on a product they don't know. If it's $100 or more, they're gonna do some research, and if you're just a brand new brand or company, they're less likely to spend money on you. That's why $18 to $50 is a good sort of range to start with. Next is gonna be sales. So this is one of the big ones, okay? So we're gonna say we want at least a minimum of 300 sales per month. You really want to verify that there is demand for your product, that people really want to buy it, okay? We don't want to go off a gut feeling about what we think will sell well. We want to use the data to instruct, our choices, okay? So that's why we go for at least 300 sales per month. The other thing you really want to make sure is while there's high demand, you also want to make sure that there's low competition. So that is gauged by the number of reviews on a product. So over in reviews, I'm gonna say like a maximum of, let's say 80 reviews, anywhere between like 50 to 100 reviews. Because if you imagine if you come in and selling an item and someone else has like 1,000 reviews, it's gonna be really hard for you to compete with that product. So that's why I aim to try to find niches where the other listings only have 50, 100 reviews. It's going to be a lot easier for you getting started. So those are the main ones that you need to get started. Then all you do is hit search. But before we do, I'm going to show you a couple of other filters that I really like to use, okay? The next one I'd like to show you is the star rating, okay? So if we come over to Amazon, this is the star rating that you see for each product, okay? This one here has got a 4 out of 5. So I'm going to go for a maximum star rating of 3.5, okay? So basically, we're only going to be seeing listings that have a star rating of 3.5 or less, which is pretty low on Amazon, okay? A 3-star is fairly low. The reason we're doing this is because a cool trick is to find products that are selling really well, but at the same time aren't rated that highly on Amazon. That means that people are willing to spend money on this product despite the fact that, it's not rated that well. This gives you the opportunity to potentially sell that same product, but improve upon the problems of it, okay? The way I'd recommend doing that is going into the reviews, into the 1 and 2-star reviews, seeing what people don't like about it, taking that information to your supplier saying, hey, can you make this product out of a stronger material or a different color, or can you add this item on? Fix the problem that people are having with that product, bring it to market, and therefore capture those sales, because you already know that people really want that product. All right? Okay, the next one that I want to show you is LQS, this one down the bottom right. That stands for Listing Quality Score. So all the products within our database, we rank from 0 to 100 based on their listing quality, okay? So this is made up of their title, description, images, and so forth, with 0 being a poor listing and 100 being a fantastic listing. Again, what you could do is look for listings that have a poor quality score, okay? So again, if people are still buying this, there's high demand, but it's got a low listing quality score, that gives you the opportunity to improve upon the marketing of your product, okay? Improve the images, description, title, etc. So those are a couple of extra filters that I really like, okay? Up here, you've got product tier. You can check standard. Essentially, you more or less always want to go standard. Oversize, larger, heavier, they cost more. They cost more in shipping. There are some restrictions on Amazon's end in terms of how many you can send in. It's just a lot more difficult. So generally speaking, you want to stick to standard products. Seller, you can filter by FBA sellers, FBM sellers, or sold by Amazon, but generally I don't check any of those and just search all listings, okay? Now, when you find a filter set that you really like, you can come up and hit Save Filter Set, so you can always come back to that one. And if you want some ideas to get you started, we've also created some presets here. So if you click on Load Filter Set, you'll see that we've got some presets here to get you started, and you'll see yours saved on the left-hand side, okay? So that's a really great tip. Come down and hit Search. All right. I'll run through the information that you've got here, okay? So you've got your price, you've got your sales, reviews, average star rating, just like we went through. You've also got the Amazon fees. This one's a really important one, okay? So for this product here that sells at $39.99, the fees for it are $9.19. So this is how much Amazon will take every sale of this product. And so that leaves the remainder, the net amount is $30.80, okay? You still need to take your product cost out of that, but it's really handy to know Amazon's fees, okay? And if you click on that net amount, it brings up this really cool FBA calculator. So here, if you know your product cost, let's say our product cost is $10, I can put in $10, hit calculate profit, and instantly it tells you you'll make a profit of $20.80, taking away your product and shipping cost and also Amazon's fees, okay? The really cool thing here is that you can try out different prices. So let's say I want to sell this product, but maybe I've got a premium version that I want to sell for $45. Again, I can hit calculate profit and I can see exactly how much profit I'd make. Or perhaps you might lower your price because you want to get some more sales at the start. Let's say I'm going to drop the price to $35, Again, you can keep experimenting with the price to see how low you can go, but still make a profit. So the FBA calculator is something I'd highly recommend using whilst you're doing product research and testing out the profitability of different products. Okay. All right, you can click on the title of any listing here or the ASIN to view it over on Amazon. So that's really helpful. You can also export all of this information as a CSV. So you can then view it in a spreadsheet later on. All right. And that is the product database. Okay, so again, this is one of the ways that you can generate product ideas. Just by scrolling through, looking for ones that match the criteria you've set and that look good to you. Investigating them a little bit more on Amazon. All right, so I'll quickly show you the Niche Hunter, but we won't spend too much time on this one. This is the other way that you can generate product ideas. Again, you use categories and then filters. The filters are a little bit different. These are sliders rather than inputting numbers. But if we set up sort of roughly similar settings, let's go an average price there. You want lower competition levels. It's got one new filter here called the opportunity score, which is just as it sounds. How good is the opportunity out of 10? So you would generally want a higher opportunity score. Okay? So then if I just, let's say I check a couple of categories here and hit search. So how is the Niche Hunter different to the product database? Well, as the name sounds, what it does is it actually looks at niches, okay? So what it does is it actually looks at keywords and then displays all the top listings underneath that keyword. So for culinary favorites, these are all the top listings underneath that particular keyword, okay? And then it gives you the average, okay? So you see the average units sold will be at least 307. The average price will be between 17 to 48. Okay, so you're really analyzing all of the top listings inside of a niche. This is really important because even if you find one listing that matches your criteria of high sales, low competition, you really want to analyze the entire niche. You really want to see, are there any other listings out there that might be a bit too competitive? So the Niche Hunter is just a different approach, okay? And not one tool's not better than the other. It's just useful to try out both of them, okay? A lot of the fields are very similar. You've got all the same information here. You've got the profit calculator. You can click on the title to view it over on Amazon. The last thing you can do here is you see this plus sign over on the side, okay? And this actually adds the product to the product tracker, which is the next stage. If you find a niche that you really like, you can add it to the product tracker directly here. So if I click new group and select the market, the US, now I'm gonna call this culinary favorites, or maybe cookbooks. Create and add product. And you can also do this within the product database. Any product that you like, I'd recommend adding it over to the product tracker. So we'll head over there now. So the product tracker, again, is to help you verify the ideas that you've found. The first stage is just to find as many ideas as possible. Now we want to really hone in on which are the best ones. All right, so on the overview page, you'll see these are all the different groups that I'm looking at. I've got a group of yoga mats, baby hooded towels, women's sportswear, etc. And then you can see the actual groups up here. So if I click on yoga mats, all the listings that I've added to the product tracker are displayed here. Okay, it gives you an average up the top of the units sold, of the price and the fees and so forth. Now, if I scroll down, I can open up this one. And so what information have you got here? Well, in addition to the estimated sales that the product database and Niche Hunter give you, the product tracker actually gives you real sales on a daily basis. Okay, so it gives you a lot. It can give you a lot more accurate data, or tracks products in real time. Okay, and so the idea here is that you track products. I'd recommend for at least 2 weeks, so that you can be really certain about how many sales, how much demand there is for a product before you go out and buy a large number of them. Okay, so up the top, you can change the date range. Let's change it to 30 days. Now you can see if I hover over this graph, you can see the number of sales for each and every day, okay? See, if you just looked at this for like 1 or 2 days, the sales might be really low that day, or they might be really high. But if you look at it over 30 days, or at least 2 weeks, or over a long period of time, you can very clearly see what the average amount is and what you can expect to sell yourself. So it's really important to verify the sales of a product before you go out and buy it. Again, you've got a lot of the same information. You've got your average units sold per day. You can also see that as revenue. You can see the price and so forth. Let's see. Let me open up another one here as an example. Okay, again, in this example, you can see that it dropped out for a day. Maybe they ran out of inventory. There could be, I suppose, a number of reasons why that happened. But again, you can kind of see the average kind of sales that they get on a regular basis. You can also open this one up on Amazon by clicking on the link here. Above, you've got product notes, so you can click on that one and add some notes for that particular item. So that is the product tracker. Again, very, very useful for that second stage of verifying products. All right, onto the next section inside of Jungle Scout. We've got Find Suppliers. This is a really exciting tool that we've only just recently launched like a few weeks ago. But essentially, the main tool here is called the Supplier Database. This helps you with that next stage, which is sourcing suppliers. Now, I'm not going to go into this one into detail because really this is just about getting you started with finding products, okay? But essentially, the supplier database can help you either find new suppliers or verify suppliers that you've already found. What we do here is that we check against import records into the US. So we can get information on, say, your competitors' suppliers. We can see what suppliers they've used, and we can see how many shipments suppliers have shipped into the US. So basically, you'd like to see suppliers that have done imported a lot of shipments into the US. That generally means that they're reliable. They're used to shipping. They're used to working with the US. Means they're probably a better quality supplier. So the supplier database is really, really helpful. But if you want more information on that one, you can watch the tutorial right here. The next stage is keywords, okay? And so again, this can help you in 2 ways. This can help you in product research, and it can also help you when optimizing your listing, all right? So the way it can help in product research is, let's say I look up pet toys, for example. I can look up a potential keyword. And what this will do, it will give you all of the exact search traffic for that particular keyword. So if I type in pet toys, it actually shows me that the pet toys doesn't get much search volume. It only gets 4,200 searches per month, whereas dog toys actually gets a lot more search volume per month. And I didn't know that previously. So this kind of helps you gauge the demand. Obviously, if 200,000 people are searching for dog toys, there is a lot of demand for them. So this is another quick way to gauge a bit of the competition levels for a product. Then later on, when you're creating your listing, you can see which are the most popular keywords to make sure you put into your title, description, etc. to help your listing rank. Again, we'll leave it at that today. If you want to see more, you can watch a tutorial on Keyword Scout. All right. You've got My Lists, which really is just the lists of keywords that you can save. And then Listing Builder will help you take those keywords and populate your listing and create a listing. All right, so now I'm going to quickly show you a couple more tools before we wrap up this webinar, and then I'm going to switch over to a Q&A session. So firstly is the extension. Now the extension is a separate tool. It doesn't come with this with the main Jungle Scout subscription or membership, but it is quite useful. You don't necessarily need it or need both of them, but it is quite useful. So what you do is that you run the Chrome extension on a live Amazon page, like I'm doing now. And what it does is that it gives you instant feedback on the number of sales, the reviews, and basically all the information on that particular search page, okay? So it's really good if you've got an idea of what you want to sell. You can just type it in on Amazon and then quickly get an idea of how good of an opportunity it is. So we give you this opportunity score on the top right corner, which just gives you a really quick indication of how good this particular niche is. And then as you can see, we can scroll through the listings, see how many daily and monthly sales there are. You can bring up the profit calculator by clicking on, where is it? Number of sales. No, sorry. Actually, I'd have to bring up another field. I'll leave that for now. But essentially, you get a really quick snapshot of that particular niche. So the Chrome extension is really helpful. Also, if you like a particular niche, you can just come over and add it to the product tracker on the left-hand side here, and that will populate straight over inside of the web app. So they do work very well together, but you don't necessarily need them both. I just wanted to quickly show you that one. The other tool as well is the Jungle Scout Market. This is really great. It's like Fiverr for Amazon. So we've got a huge collection of all of the best freelancers that have experience working with Amazon sellers. So you can use this to get your product photography done, to help with logo design, help with even legal stuff, PPC, every service that you can think of, you can get help with on the Jungle Scout Market. All right, so that wraps up this tutorial of Jungle Scout. I know we went through that very quickly, but I wanted to cover a lot there and give you a little bit of everything there and give you an overview of it. So for the next 10 minutes, we'll do a Q&A. So if you do have any questions, drop them in the chat box. I know our support team has been busy in there answering tons of questions, so there mightn't be any more for me, but if you do have any questions, please drop them in the chat box and I will do my best to answer them. I'm just going to look through the chat box now. It seems to me that a lot of these have already been answered. All right, Sadiq, apologize if I got that wrong, says, how do you calculate LQS? That's a good question. So I don't know. To be honest, I don't know in terms of the actual algorithm behind it or exactly how it works, but essentially it is, as I said before, it's a combination of how well have they filled out their title. If you've got a really short title with only a couple of words, it may not be as optimized as it could be with more keywords. So we look at how much have they filled out the title, have they filled in all of the 5 bullet point sections, because those are missed opportunities. If you don't fill out all of those, you're missing opportunities to get more keywords ranked and to also just sell your product more. And then how much have you filled out a description? Often you see descriptions where there's just like one line and it's a big missed opportunity where you've got the opportunity to put in a couple of paragraphs and really sell your product. So we look at all of those things and kind of aggregate a score from that, okay? So hopefully that gives you a bit of a picture in terms of how we calculate it. All right, just seeing what questions we have here. All right, so Zigamalay says, can JS measure seasonality? Okay, let's take a look. Sales. Okay, so some cool things that you can do, for instance, in the Chrome extension, is that you can bring up historical monthly sales. So you can get an idea of seasonality. So that's one way that you can go about it, okay, using the Chrome extension. All right, so Ginny says, how does JS gather the average daily revenue from Amazon? We saw some products with an average sales price that is a lot higher than what is posted on the Amazon page. Cool. So the way that we just get our sales estimates in general, which of course, creates the revenue numbers, basically there's a lot of factors that are involved in this. So we actually have access to a lot of real sales data from sellers that have anonymously offered to let us see their sales. Plus, we have a lot of sellers on the team. So we have access to a lot of real sales data, which can help us figure out, our sales estimates algorithms. We use that in combination with a bunch of different things. So we use the BSR. That's definitely not the sole thing that we use. That's included in there. We also look at inventory amounts. We look at past sales history. We've been collecting sales data for years now, so we've got a lot of data there, and all of it combined goes into this big algorithm to create our sales estimates. And we're constantly working on this. We've got a big team that's just dedicated to updating our sales estimates and our algorithms. There's a lot of work spent on it. I don't know the technical side of it, but I do know that there's a lot of things that are involved in creating that. All right. So it looks like they're, let's see. Looks like our customer support team is all over it in the chat box and has kind of answered everyone's questions there. So I'm going to wrap it up for today. I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Wishing you all the very best with finding your first product, adding it to the tracker and going through the process. I know it can take a little bit of time. It's sort of nervous, but it's scary but exciting and everything. So wishing you all the very best of luck. Of course, we've got a fantastic support team. If you ever need anything, just jump to the little help widget down the bottom right-hand corner, and there's a ton of support articles there. Or if you don't find an answer to your question, you can reach out to our support team. Every tool also has a tutorial in the top if you want to delve into it a little bit deeper. Again, I hope this has helped you. All the very best moving forward, guys. And have a wonderful evening, morning, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.